So our first keynote speaker is Maria Teresa Zappia, the CIO of Blue Orchard. And the keynote speech is entitled, "What Can Asset Managers Do to Tackle Climate Change?" with concrete examples of innovative blended finance initiatives. Please welcome Maria Teresa to the stage.
Good morning. It's a big pleasure to be here, and I'll try this. Perfect. Nope. So a few words. Yesterday night I had the pleasure to be invited to the IFF evening, where there were 5 businesses selected, emerging fund managers, and I have to say I found fascinating the business model. So really I want to start from there. At the same time, I guess something that is important is also the helicopter view. What are really investors after? And as part, Blue Orchard is part of the Schroders Group, and we have access to really interesting data on global investors' insights. And this is actually a survey that will be issued tomorrow. So I had a lot of compliance discussions with colleagues in marketing and communication on can we show it today. So off the press, I thought it was important to put the context of the companies that have been selected in the new cohort of IFF into the larger global insights and investment perspective shared by Schroders. So this is a survey that is run on a yearly basis, and it includes approximately 3,000 respondents across the globe, and it has a pretty wide outreach. We are talking about $75 trillion of assets that these respondents manage. As I said, it's global, so the investor base is global, with 35% of the investors being in the EMEA region, so in our region. What is also interesting is that the investors are very different. You have the pie charts here, but it's effectively, institutional investors. We're talking about, pension funds and insurance companies. We have also family offices, foundation endowments, official institutions. So as I say, out of these, 3,000 respondents. But we also have some interesting categories that we define as gatekeepers. These are asset managers, private banks, fund selectors. The survey overall is really on investment perspectives, and then there is a subsection on sustainability. And here we zoomed, as I say, I couldn't provide more data than this. This is as far as I negotiated with the compliance team, but the PR tomorrow will have much more interesting data. But we wanted to zoom into some topics in this investor perspective, and really sustainability is one of the sections of this global investor insight survey. So what I think it's interesting for, in the context of IFF is that effectively you have some themes that are really standing out for this large group of investors. As I said, 3,000 approximately, 75 trillion of assets under management. And here you have energy transition. For example, if you look on, on the left-hand side for me, right on your side. So we have energy transition. It's a theme where 60% of the investors are already investing and 30% are looking into investing. So very, I'd say, telling on, what are investors really looking at in terms of, climate change and decarbonization. Then the middle part is talking about, refers to, the approaches to decarbonization within portfolios. And there, I would say, is not a surprise that ESG, integration and investment portfolio, comes up as the, top one. But what I think it's interesting is actually the two other subclasses. So effectively, you have a large range of investors, and if you take, all investors, at least 14%, they are looking at investing in green technologies and solutions, and as many as 17% looking at investing in, climate solutions. Now, on the right-hand side, we also asked investors, okay, these, you're looking at energy transition investment opportunities, you have, your approaches to decarbonization of portfolio, including investment in climate solution, green technology, but what is your forward-looking, thinking, and we're talking about the next 1 or 2 years in terms of, investment appetite. And here again, there are some interesting, data, facts that are coming out. Climate adaptation is very much, on the, really on the top with 63%. So really, as I say, forward-looking investments in the next 1 or 2 years. Health and well-being, community, social housing, and place-based investing. And then if we go into, the subset of institutional investors, you have climate adaptation, place-based investing, but you also have circular economy, and you have nature-based solutions, including agri-food. Now, thinking about the cohort of companies that were selected yesterday night, if I had made up this survey, you'd be, surprised, but it's exactly the type of 5 companies have been selected. And I find this is very powerful because sometimes we are, very much, I guess, the IFF and all the people that are involved, the advisor, the consultant, we see a bit of a small part of the market. And so I really wanted to share that the big part of the market, if we look at, investors' perspective and insights, is actually going in the same direction. So that's pretty reassuring. So it's reassuring that the job that IFF is doing is very relevant, market relevant, and potentially there is investor appetite there. Few words, because I think it's also really important to say that this is a blended finance initiative, so with technical assistance, with public sponsors. And so I thought I should share a few data points from the Convergence State of Blended Finance report. Again, there is a consistent picture. You have 57% of the, blended finance flows that go into, financing, climate financing. So, again, a focus that is typical and is becoming really essential for the blended finance, topics and objectives. The volumes in blended finance are also, approximately 10 billion of a year, blended finance transactions. And if you look at, the report in 2023 is actually almost 14 billion. So again, really big volumes that have been generated in blended finance. And then 2 words, I think IFF is a very important part of the ecosystem in terms of, capacity building, technical assistance, getting, some emerging fund managers, really the possibility to develop new, fund activities. But of course, blended finance, and technical assistance is somehow, a starting point. Other parts of blended finance, remain first loss capital, risk mitigation, and on the Blue Orchard side, we have approximately 5 billion of assets under management. 20%, we have 1 billion in blended finance. So we clearly believe that there is, especially in emerging market, a very strong, rationale for blended finance. And we have also worked, now we work with the Ministry of Finance of Luxembourg in a Green Earth Impact Fund, but we work with a very large range of investors. And we really think that the IFF plays really an important part of the ecosystem in building new, effectively, emerging fund managers. Two words about some examples of what we have done in climate on the Blue Orchard side. So here you see that we have, the first is actually the Green Earth Impact Fund. We just had a breakfast presentation. We have the opportunity to finance, GPs in climate mitigation, adaptation, nature-based solutions. So again, maybe one day we'll have one of the IFF cohorts being sponsored by, as part of the fund. That would be fantastic. And of course, as I said, the Ministry of Finance is one of the, anchor investors in this initiative. So clearly a lot of in common. Then on an extreme right, we have climate adaptation. We have been working since 2015 on 2 strategies in private equity, focusing on really climate insurance along the insurance value chain. And then on the central pillar is what we are working now, which is nature-based solutions, really conservation and afforestation, reforestation with Conservation International. So I want to thank you all for the opportunity to say a few words. As I say, I think what is important is that the small picture ties up very well with the big picture. And as part of this, I think IFF is playing a key role with these cohorts, 39, I think, fund managers being selected. So thanks a lot, and I give the floor to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, and for negotiating some early viewing for us as well. We appreciate that very much indeed.